Ms. Mazzoni, please call roll.
Vice Mayor Jarman.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Casto.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Coburn.
Yes.
Councilman Register.
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Tedmer.
Yes, ma'am. Today's invocation is led by Pastor Raymond Duval from Beachside Fellowship Church. Please stand.
Let's pray. Father, we're grateful that everything good comes from you. And we thank you that you've blessed us with the privilege of living and working here in Panama City Beach, that you've blessed us with this beautiful environment. And we thank you, Lord, that during this summer season that you are with us to guide us and direct us. Father, I pray for every elected and appointed official in Panama City Beach. I ask, Lord, that wisdom would be granted to them. You said if we ask for wisdom, you give it to us abundantly. So grant them wisdom and bless their families. Bless our first responders, Lord, and every city employee. And Lord God, I pray for this council and the business that is before it, that you would lead them, guide them, and direct them, that every decision that they make would be made in accordance with your purpose and plan for Panama City Beach. So, Father, we thank you. We love you. We thank you for the privilege that you've given us of living in this blessed community. We ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Please join Vice Mayor Michael Jarman for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. We're moving on to community announcements, and we have a few of those. Tonight, this Thursday, starting at 7 p.m., our summer concert series continues. This is the fourth edition, or fourth band, the Lucky Strokes, which is Southern Blues Funk Rock. And then Thursday, July 3rd, we'll have another summer concert series concert. That is Last Left, which is classic rock. And we're going to move on to July 4th, which is a big deal out here in Panama City Beach. The VFW actually will be having a Independence Day celebration at 9 a.m. on Friday, July 4th at Veterans Memorial at Aaron Besant Park. This is not a city event, and we normally do not announce non-city events up here, but since a city official will be speaking at that one, that allows us to announce it up here. Continuing on in July 4th, you'll hear it, the Visit Panama City Beach Star Spangled Spectacular Fireworks will be at the City Pier, and in celebration of Independence Day, the city offices will be closed. Also on Thursday, July 10th is our next city council meeting. That is a 5 o'clock meeting. And that 5 o'clock meeting it's normally at 6. We've moved it to 5, so it's a special meeting. That's to allow folks to get to the summer concert series. Okay. Now move on to the approval of meeting minutes.
Motion approved.
Second.
Ms. Mazzoni?
Vice Mayor Jarman.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Casto.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Coburn.
Yes.
Councilman Register.
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Tedmer.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. We are moving to the approval of the agenda and additions or deletions. Mr. Whitman, did you have anything?
Yes, sir. I'd like to ask you and the council to add 3 items to the agenda. One would be a presentation. This would be in the efforts of cleaning out Lowwater Lake. There's a drone that controls algae blooms. There's an individual that's going to put it in the lake today with your permission, but he wants to do a presentation on that. I'd also like to add 2 items to the regular agenda. The first one would be approving and ratifying an engagement letter I did with Jackson Lewis. It's a law firm out of Miami regarding the fire department's attempt to unionize. And the third one would be approving approving a grant with Edward Burns Memorial. We allocate our money back to the county for the real-time crime center unit for the Bay County Sheriff's Office.
Okay. And in an attempt to be a little bit efficient here, since there's an unanimous, per the packet, there's a unanimous approval for the TDC seat. Would we be amenable to moving that up too? So we'd go law firm, real-time crime center grant, TDC.
Yeah, that everyone's in the audience, so yeah, that'd be great.
Okay. Can I get a motion?
Motion to approve as amended.
Okay.
Second.
All right, Ms. Mazzoni?
Vice Mayor Jarman.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Casto.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Coburn.
Yes.
Councilman Register.
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Tedmer.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. We're going to move on to presentations. We're going to start with Employee Years of Service Awards. Vice Mayor?
Mr. Andrews. Come on up. Don't be shy. And thanks for being here. Yes, sir. The mayor, city council, and staff of the city of Panama City Beach extend the sincerest appreciation to Gregory Andrews for dedicated service and commitment to the city of Panama City Beach for 20 years. Wow. And thank you very much for all the time you've invested and cared for this city. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Ken Schroth. I'm the Assistant Utility Director, and I've only been here for a couple of months, but in that short time, I've heard nothing but fantastic things about Greg, about his work ethic, about his positive attitude. And our Utility Director, Mark Schaefer, regrettably wasn't able to be here today, but he very much wanted me to read this. Greg has served the city in 2 capacities during his time with us. First, as a member of the underground utilities locating staff, and locating is critical to avoiding damage to existing utilities during construction or repairs. A mistake can be expensive and interrupt service, so extreme care is required. At that time, we only had 2 locators and didn't have ground penetrating radar equipment until the very end of Greg's time as a locator. Manual locating is hard, physical work, using a post hole digger and a probe rod. Besides physically demanding, the work priorities were constantly changing, and both locators were scrambling back and forth across our vast service area. Greg reliably provided this key role and never complained, and was constantly calm, especially under pressure. Greg later transferred to our cross-connection control division and now focuses on protecting the quality of our drinking water supply by reducing the chance for contamination. He still has that same great attitude, but his shoulders are finally getting a break. He's a dedicated family man and an absolute pleasure to have the privilege to work beside. I know you hate attention, but your dedication, work, and character needs to be recognized. Congratulations, Greg, on this achievement, and I apologize for not being there to tell everyone how glad I am for you. Well done.
Greg, thank you. Yes, sir.
Greg, you don't want to give a speech?
You sure you got 3 minutes? Okay, so now we have the presentation added to the agenda. What was the name of the gentleman doing the presentation? Sir, if you would come up for the presentation.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for speaking with me, and I'm here to tell you about what our robots do. We use a principle we call C3, which is communal coexistence and coevolution. Rather than vacuuming up.
Before we start, this is for Low Water Lake.
Yes, it is. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, yes it is. It's instead of operating heavy machinery and removing things and inflicting damage to the environment, what the robots do is integrate themselves into the ecosystem and change the water back to what it was before the blooms and everything occurred. And thus you're able to maintain life cycles in the body of water without any, real damage. And so the water becomes safer, cleaner for everyone. And the robots themselves are extremely simple. I mean, really very crude. But
and sort of the goal of these robots is to address algae blooms. Is that
yes,
accurate?
They do it in 2 ways. They consume the algae bloom and turn it into a waxy material, chemically the same as beeswax, which can be sold commercially to help offset the cost of the environment, the cleanup, and give you revenues for other things. There's quite a big market for beeswax these days.
Excuse me, I have
Yes, sir.
a real quick question. We're just dealing with algae. We're not dealing with water hyacinths, water lettuce, hydrilla, any of those.
Actually, it can.
Pardon?
It can deal with those things.
But you're mostly talking about algae.
Initially, yes. We have ways to modify it to deal with other types of water plants.
Because the biggest problem over there in low water is those plants I just mentioned, not algae. Algae's a part of it, but anyhow, go ahead. I was curious what the robots attack.
I understand. By changing the conditions in the water column, it will bring some of them back into more manageable levels, but if the need be to remove more, we can talk about that. But right now, what we're trying to do is bring a balance back into your ecosystem and give you a revenue stream to take care of it so it doesn't cost the taxpayers anything. It's, where are we going with this? Oh dear, all right. Anyway, what the robots do is they're going to move around, they look for the...
IT, if you could go to slide 9, just so we can take a look at this robot.
Oh, yeah.
See if IT can pull it back up.
Forgive me, I'm unaccustomed to
This
making
is the
presentations.
joy
That's
of
okay.
walk-on presentations, everyone. You're getting to experience it in real time.
Oh,
So the robot is going to go scan the surface.
yeah,
scan the
it
surface.
actually sees the photosynthesis of the plants, and it steers itself towards the strongest source, which would indicate the most growth, and it will begin consuming it and turning it into paraffin. And keep doing that until it's used up enough where there's something else as a stronger signal, it will move over there. Later on at the lake, we're going to show some glasses so you can see what the robot sees.
Okay, so it's basically an algae Roomba.
Well, Roombas wouldn't suggest that it's moving back and forth and sucking it up. This is similar, but we used to call them manatees
Okay,
because they would kind of drift on the surface and consume the vegetation at their leisure. But we ended up changing that to Evie after my granddaughter. But anyway, so
so is there anything else you want us to know about this project, these robots?
no, at the moment we're just ready to demonstrate it, and if everything works out, you should see some. Oh, got some visuals finally. It only moves at 5 knots. It's very safe. It's very quiet. The robots actually have a U.S. Coast Guard certificate of seaworthiness. So they're very safe. They were tested and approved for up to Sea State 7, which is a Force 2 hurricane. So you don't have to worry about them hurting anyone. And then we're just going to leave them to do their job, and we'll have more to show you when we put it in the lake today, and you'll be able to see it in operation.
Okay,
Thank you very much for your time,
great. Is there
everyone.
any
questions?
To your capacity, are you the designer of this? Are you the
Yes, I
engineer
am.
of this?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And where has this been deployed prior to?
They've been deployed, been deployed on Lake Okeechobee, the New Jersey Meadowlands, several farm ponds in Pennsylvania, the Salton Sea in California, and there's some more under construction but haven't been deployed yet on the Sacramento River in
Okay.
California.
All right. And what's the longest one has been deployed?
7 years.
Okay, and that is where?
That's on a farm pond in Pennsylvania. It hasn't been out of the water in 7 years, through 6 Pennsylvania winters. And-
Okay.
And it still runs.
And how long have you had one at Lake Okeechobee?
We've had them in Lake Okeechobee for about a year now.
Okay.
There are only 5 of them operating so far, and it's through a private venture that's we licensed to operate. So, but that's the machines right now. We're hoping to get more.
Do you have to service these every day, every week, and remove
You
the
have to remove-
beeswax, or what?
You remove the beeswax in typically every 2-3 days, maybe a little longer depending on the season.
How much will you remove in 3 days?
60 gallons. and it sells for $9 a gallon wholesale.
So you're not asking to do a contract and for any money, you're just wanting to test this on our lake over there, is that right?
Yes, we've testing it and produces revenues. We've agreed to share the revenues with the city.
Okay.
So we think it's kind of a win-win for everybody. We have an operation, you have a little thing going, and if you want to do more of it, we're ready. And if you don't want to do it anymore, then you haven't risked anything.
How many of these devices would it take to effectively clean up that lake? And do you have any operating in coastal dune lakes similar?
The New Jersey Meadowlands are almost identical to your lake. It's a shallow tidal basin with reeds and things growing and migratory birds. And in fact, it's a little harsher because there's regular winter there, and the lower parts of it are brackish because they're tidal. So it's managed environments like this.
How many units would?
I think I'm still have to see how it performs, but I'm thinking 3 would probably get the lake under control and keep it under control.
Okay.
So
How does it propel itself around the lake?
has little thrusters. They're little. We basically use little centrifugal pumps squirting water out the back through an eductor, so it provides thrust and also aerates the water column.
So the intake on it similar to on a jet ski, maybe?
Might be, yeah.
Yeah. What about it getting stopped up with all the vegetation's over there now? Is that gonna be?
It's designed to eat the vegetation, so.
It's got a grinder pump in it or something?
It's technical term is a macerating pump, I guess that's what it
Familiar
is.
with that. Okay.
It's a macerating pump.
I was just curious how you,
Oh, no, it's a fair question. Yeah, the thrusters are macerating pumps.
Okay.
Now we're getting technical, so, anything else?
How large is this drone?
It's 10 feet long, about 6 feet wide. It's made out of PVC tubing, actually, bulk of it. The only part that we manufacture is the electronic circuits to control it, and we call it the kinetic nozzle that converts the algae into paraffin. Which is kind of interesting how it does it. We cavitate the water, which heats it to 8,000 degrees Fahrenheit. So the algae instantly becomes paraffin. But it's a thermodynamically reversible process, so the water exiting the process is room temperature again.
Well, that's great. It's a great trial project, no cost to the city.
No.
We particularly wanted to bring this presentation on because folks may be seeing it out here. Drew, if folks have questions about this, who should they call?
They can contact me and I could get some information out through the Public Works Department who's overseeing this project.
Okay, so you may be seeing this fairly soon?
Today, hopefully.
Today, hopefully, at Low Water. So we just wanted to make everyone aware of this.
Well, thank you, gentlemen.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Bye, have a good day.
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Interesting. Hope it works.
It's worth a shot. Okay. We now move on to public comment on the consent agenda and/or non-agenda business. Please come up, state your name, address me or the council as a whole. Please keep your comments limited to city business, and you have 3 minutes. Consent or non-agenda?
My name is Captain Gary Wayne Beck. I live at 2601 Beach Street. Well, folks, y'all looking at a gentleman that just don't exist, because let's remind everybody, I was first in line to see President Trump when he, or second in line to see President Trump when he came here, and they wouldn't let me in to see him. Then I went to Orlando, Florida, where I got my picture on the front page of the New York Times.
Do you have anything related to city business?
Yeah, it does. And anyway, I was on the front page of the New York Times where I was first in line to see President Trump, and they wouldn't let me in. Why wouldn't they do that? Because I was bringing to bear everything that's been coming against the Constitution and Bill of Rights that this town has been doing against the people. we the people, which, we have a right. Y'all stopped me from speaking here. What have y'all stopped me from speaking about? Y'all taking pictures over inside of people's bedroom windows, stealing their properties, 46 properties I have a record of. And let's bring up to bear the federal case. I filed the federal case and I handed it in to y'all in good faith, but what'd y'all do? Y'all took advantage of my dyslexia. What happened to the case after I handed it in, that's on y'all. And then we got the fact that, that the property taxes, Adrius Pender paid $10,000 last year on my property taxes. Then they turned around and put another $2,000 this year on my property taxes. And whenever they paid that $2,000, it was extortion from the people. They're doing the same thing to everybody, And then the other day, I couldn't help but notice Chief Telemonte was on the news with Operation Quicksand, where he's standing there with the sheriff and he's talking about the molestation of children. Now, I just discussed that situation with Chief Telemonte, and when I discussed it with Chief Telemonte, I says, what about y'all looking at the evidence? Then he has to go and reference Officer Tiffany, who told me she couldn't access my phone. I got 9 other phones of this man telling me, and let's get it straight. They didn't actually rape a child in front of me. They put a picture of a child being raped in front of me, and then they proceeded to call me multiple different times, And then, what did I do? I got in touch, with old gender bender, old Cheeky,
Sir,
and he told,
sir, do not insult staff.
I'm not insulting nobody.
Sir,
I guess you're wondering because I found out he dresses like a woman. We have multiple people inside this government that dresses like women. I consider them to be mentally unstable, especially when they prey upon children, And then let's talk about the people that just died in the surf. I think all of y'all need to have pictures over y'all's bed, because I've had a surf rescue for how long? And one of those big old fancy red trucks that y'all got that's got surf rescue on it, you would have paid for the entire surf rescue system all the way up and down Panama City Beach. But you know what it's about? It's about control. Y'all people get off on controlling the people. You get the $500 fines and all this stuff. You get to run out there and stick your chest out and tell somebody they can't be free. That's what y'all been doing to everybody. Is that not true, Mayor? Do you paint your lips with freaking Kool-Aid, or do you pretend to be a preacher and tell a child that God that made a mistake and he can be a girl or a boy on their choice because God made a mistake? Do you do that? I can prove he dresses like a woman. I can prove the other people dresses like women. I can multiple people dress like women in this government.
Continue further public comment. Sir, if you could please silence the phone. Further public comment on consent, non-agenda items. Okay. Seeing none, I'm going to let Mr. Whitman, is there anything you can address there?
No, sir.
Mayor, I believe this lady back here wanted.
Did you want to speak? Okay, there we go. Yeah.
I don't think she's quite familiar with our procedure.
Oh, yeah. Come on up. Come on up.
I'm having a little bit of trouble with the codes department.
Could you state your name, ma'am?
Oh, sorry. Cindy Ransdell. Okay. I'll just read what I wrote. From the beginning of my encounter with the codes department, I made everyone aware that I have several medical problems. I also had not been able to find anyone to help me. Therefore, I worked day and night as late as 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning. I reported my progress to the codes department each time, and an officer came and they would look to see what my progress was coming along. They didn't say that I was doing well, they did say, you're not doing very much, and the only thing that they were judging it by was what was within the dumpsters. I was even told that everything had to go. He just threw his hands up and said, everything needs to go. And I figured maybe that included me too. I became very frustrated at the inconsistency of the instructions as to what I needed to do. Then I allowed the officer into my yard, hoping that he would get a clearer understanding of what my job is, what I needed to get rid of. I had been told just to clean up the stuff in the yard, but then after I let him into my yard, he went kind of looking and questioning things that were in the buildings. I have a couple of storage buildings in the backyard as well. At this point, I was told I couldn't have any tarps. They were hiding things, and I said, no, they're not hiding anything. It's for protection from rain and sun. And so now he still insists that all the tarps have to come down. It wasn't until midway through that all this accruing amounts were coming up. I didn't really realize what was going on. And I received by mail a bill for $16,000. I came up here with the money to pay the bill, and I was told that the person that was handling my case wasn't available and for me to come back the following Monday. I did, and I was met by 3 officers. They took me to a room, shut the door, and proceeded to tell me that I owed $42,000. I stated at that point I needed a lawyer, and and I didn't pay anything because I could have paid the $16,000 that they originally said something, but I was so stunned at the amount that I just walked out. And a couple of days later, I got a second notice totaling $26,200, which is due tomorrow.
Ma'am, could you wrap it up?
Excuse me?
The 3 minutes is up. Could you go to your
Okay.
conclusion real quick?
Anyway, they've already put a lien on my house. It was predated from May 4th, and that was before all
State
this.
your address.
Excuse me?
Your address.
It's 108 Heather Drive.
Okay. All right. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay. Further public comment? Your work. Ma'am, or sir, please, quiet in the gallery. Please, quiet in the gallery, sir.
My name's Tracy Lane. I live at 110 Heather Drive, Panama City Beach. I am Cindy's next-door neighbor. Cindy moved here in 2005. With her, she brought a lot of stuff. And every day that she doesn't work, she's out hitting the thrift stores, this, that, and she comes in with more stuff than goes out. Her house is full to the brim. You can't get a glass of water in there. Her front yard, I've worked with code enforcement, Mr. Smith, and her front yard was atrocious. They were on her for her front yard. And when I got involved and I said, oh, you make her clean it up? And he says, yeah. I said, well, how about the backyard? He said, we can't go in the backyard. I said, well, you have my permission to come in my backyard. I'll write a affidavit, whatever I need to do. So I gave him permission to come in my yard, and I hang a note on my door every day that I'm not home. If he would like to come in and further check her progress, go right ahead. She has made little to none progress, and 4 of the smaller dumpsters have been taken out of there. Now, Mr. Jarman lives across the street, so, I mean, you guys can talk and ask him anything, but I would suggest you talk to Laney Smith. That backyard is a fire hazard, a rodent hazard. It smelled when she took the first stuff out of there. There is everything out of there. She has glass vases out there, books out there, appliances, small appliances, all kinds of stuff, because she works her 3 days a week. She works at Turtle Girls, and she has a booth there, and she does very well when she paints. But she's out there spray painting stuff instead of cleaning it up. I sent pictures in September 18th. This is 10 months, and we're still not through with this. Now, I know code enforcement said some of the things were being changed because the stuff was taken too long, and I know he said that they had a recent thing with vehicles, unregistered vehicles or something. That car has sat there and hasn't moved at all since the last time they pushed it into the driveway off of city property when code enforcement asked them to. She was told at least get the tires pumped up, the car running, and they don't care if she has it insured or registered, which is fine. That car was towed away. It came back a month later by tow truck. It hasn't run since, so she was just told to get rid of it again. Cindy has not listened. She's fought them on everything. So I would suggest, before you make any kind of decision, take a field trip over there. It's right across the street, and then talk to code enforcement. That's all I have to say, and I thank you for your time.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Further public comment on consent or non-agenda item? Yes, sir? And you guys don't have to raise your hand. You can just come up.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Carlos Hooper, and I live at 405 Bed Street. And Stuart, I met you this morning. Thank you very much. It was very kind of you. The reason why I'm here is because I just want to solve a small problem on my property. So When I bought my house, I was not disclosed that the shed in the back of my property was over the line. It's not exactly 6 feet away from the fences. It's short, a few inches short of that. So the city has me to shut down the electricity and the water on my shed, which is creating problems now because I'm starting to get mold, et cetera. So I can't use that property, and I'm getting taxed on it. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to conciliate with the city and trying to solve this issue that I inherited. Because when I bought this property, I was grandfathered into this issue, and I was not made aware of it. So I just want the city to work with me to fix this problem so I can just enjoy my property, and that's all my request. So I did work with Mel Leonard and with Michael Kunst, and they gave me opposing opinions on how the solution is. I just want to conciliate, solve this issue so I can move on with my life and enjoy my property, so that's all.
Okay.
So I just want to know if I can approve, or if the council can approve the city to work with me to solve the situation. That's my request.
And what was the address again?
405 Beth Street.
Okay.
One more thing, and they told me that I could move the shed,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
I
didn't-
tried
didn't
to,
get that
and it
straight
was
either, but-
What was the street's name?
405 Beth.
Beth?
Beth Street, okay.
They told me I could move the shed. I tried, called like 5, 6 places, not interested. I finally got a quote, and it was 20 grand. The shed is not worth 20 grand. So I actually, I'm getting taxed on it, but I can't use it. So that's the situation. Thank you, that's all.
Okay, thank you, Carlos. Further public comment on consent or non-agenda items? All right, for real this time. Okay. Seeing none, Mr. Whitman, is there anything you can respond to in those comments?
Yeah, in reference to the house on Heather, I believe that's been to the hearing officer. I'll get with Mel Leonard and his team to see where we're at with that, but we are trying to clean up the neighborhoods, especially with the abandoned vehicles, but I'll get you an update on that. In reference to 405, I'd have to get with Mel to see if the shed was constructed or put on the property without a permit. That might be sort of the issues that one of the neighbors were complaining about, the setbacks. So I'll have to get more information on that from the building department.
Okay. So it's, one's been to a hearing, the 108 Heather's been to a hearing
I believe
already?
they've been through a hearing, and I'm not for sure which hearing officer oversaw it. I'd have to pull the whole case file.
Okay. And for 405, Carlos, if you could get us your Carlos? You can get us your contact information after this so we can reach out?
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay. All right. Any comments from council?
Did the 405 Beth Street go in front of the planning board?
I don't believe so. He'd have to ask for a variance to keep the shed there. I don't have any history on that. I was unaware of the complaint until just now, so I'd have to dig into that to give you a better briefing.
All right.
Yeah, so working with Mel to go through the process for a variance is one option, but you're gonna look into it?
Yes, sir. One option would be the variance, one option would be move the shed, but I'd have to see if it was even constructed with a permit before we even go that far.
Okay. All right. Well, as everyone can hear, code enforcement cases are challenging. That's why we have a process for them and many opportunities to hear. If there are any process issues, I would love to hear about them. But as it stands now, we're going through the process for them. Okay. Now move on to the consent agenda. Ms. Fazan.
Resolution 25-129, a resolution of the City of Panama City Beach, Florida, approving an agreement with Rapid Response Disaster Services, LLC, for citywide code compliance nuisance abatement services at set hourly rates. Resolution 25-130, a resolution of the City of Panama City Beach, Florida, approving the purchase of a heavy-duty vehicle lift system and related equipment from Mohawk Lifts, LLC, in the total amount of $105,034.23, and agreeing to be bound by the terms and conditions of the Sourcewell contract governing that purchase. Resolution 25-131, a resolution of the City of Panama City Beach, Florida, approving agreements with Artemis Fleet Services, GC Auto LLC, and Take 5 Oil Change for citywide fleet maintenance services, and authorizing expenditures under those agreements in an amount not to exceed $220,000 for fiscal year 2025. Number 4, action item, appointment to the Northwest Florida Airport Authority Board. 5, revision to the master audit list to remove obsolete items.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Fazzoni. Any motion from the council?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. Fazzoni, please call roll.
Vice Mayor Jarman.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Casto.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Coburn.
Yes.
Councilman Register.
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Teddemer.
Yes, ma'am, and congratulations, Les. All right, we've updated the agenda in the agenda approval section, so now we have the first special item, the law firm. Mr. Davis.
I'll go ahead and read the resolution. So Resolution 25-138, a resolution of the City of Panama City Beach, Florida, approving and ratifying an engagement letter with Jackson Lewis PC as special labor counsel to the city.
And I should remind folks that copies of these resolutions are in the back. Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I can introduce this item for you if you'd like. So on May 7th of this year, the fire department filed petitions with the Public Employment Relations Commission for recognition of two separate unions. Since that time, working with the city manager, we analyzed this issue and interviewed some special counsels to help us navigate this process. We settled on a gentleman named Ray Velasquez, who is with a law firm Jackson Lewis in Miami. And we and the city manager, within his spending authority, executed an engagement letter to start the process. And what we're asking of you today is to ratify that agreement so we can move forward with Mr. Velasquez as we continue through the process.
Okay, and before we move on to questions or council discussion, I'd like to call for public comment on this item. Any public comment on this item? Okay, seeing none. Well, I've been advised not to comment on the reason we're doing this.
That is my advice.
But we went through the normal process, or a process city does. We interviewed several. This was within the city's Loop Drew's spending authority already. What we're doing right now is, in case it goes above Drew's spending authority, we're ratifying the rates.
That's correct.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. Fazzoni?
Vice Mayor Jarman.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Casto.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Coburn.
Yes.
Councilman Register.
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Teddemer.
Yes, ma'am. We now move on to the second special item, Resolution 25-137.
A resolution of the City of Panama City Beach, Florida, approving the allocation of $85,592 of federal fiscal year 2024 Edward Byrne Memorial JAG program funds to Bay County for the Bay County Real-Time Crime Center and designating the mayor as the city's authorized representative.
Okay, thank you. And normally I like to do public comment first because these have been out in the agenda packet, but since these are first showed up in the back there, I'd like Chief Tao to come up and tell us about this, and then we'll go into public comment.
Morning, Mayor, Council. This specific grant program, the agency's been involved with, the city's been involved with for several years. This is a state grant program that the money was typically in historical years divided between the law enforcement agencies of Bay County. Since the establishment of the Real-Time Crime Center, known as Bayrock, we have all agreed to combine the funding from this grant to help fund the cost of that Real-Time Crime Center. And I just would like to just clarify that this has been a game changer for the intelligence-led policing model that we have all followed within the area and has really helped public safety in Panama City Beach.
Okay, so this is a grant that's being reallocated to the Bayrock, to the Real-Time Crime Center.
That's correct. The agreement with the specific Fusus platform that the actual program runs off of, it's spearheaded with the Bay County Sheriff's Office. We're just paying our part.
Okay. Thank you, Chief.
Yes, sir.
I'll call for public comment on this item.
My name is Captain Gary Wayne Beck. I live at 2601 Beach Street. We just heard Chief Telmonte say real-time crime in progress. I've called the chief of police multiple different times when crimes was being committed against me to no avail. Then we have to deal with the fact that we got the children that they put the picture of the child being raped in front of me, and I've sent him text message after text message after text message of video screenshots of where the individual that done this to the child is calling me on the phone and bragging about the fact that he's getting away with it because all of you people are turning a blind eye. And we're talking about real-time crimes. We just witnessed it. This poor lady sitting right over here, I don't know what exactly her conditions are, but she has a right to have her property, and she has a right to have her stuff on her property. If y'all so worried about it, why don't y'all ask the lady what you can do to help her? You know, maybe serve the people? But no, what did y'all do? Y'all jacked up the prices on her. You know why? Because y'all want her property. You're extorting her property, just like y'all been doing. You know, and we're talking about real-time crimes. That's what I've been trying to get in front of y'all.
Agenda comments?
I said, we're talking about real-time crimes. This is real-time crimes that's happening. It's not about code enforcement. We're talking about crimes. I'm not talking about code enforcement. Code enforcement is the ones that's guilty of committing the crimes. That's what I'm trying to say. You know, they've got 49 homes that I know for a fact that they've taken. You divide up 49 properties and see how much money y'all got in y'all's pocket.
Sir, this is
you know, it's crime. We're talking about real-time crime. Pictures over people's privacy fence. You know, pictures inside of people's bedroom windows. How can I prove it? They used it against me in court. Is that not against the Constitution and Bill of Rights? You know, right to privacy, Fourth Amendment? How did they take the pictures inside my bedroom window? We're talking about crimes that's happening right now, and it's ongoing. And it happened back then, and I've been fighting it for what, 15 years, because I put my hand on the Bible and I swore to uphold it against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And unfortunately, that goes against people that rape children. You understand me?
Sir.
You know,
sir,
it's real-time
sir,
crimes. I'm trying to get the phone. You know, I give him the phone. I give him the phone, and he can't do it because it's got the cracked screen. You know, I've got 9 other phones of 15 years. Here comes the chief.
Okay. Further public comment on this agenda item? Seeing none? There any?
Motion to approve.
There we go.
Second.
Ms. Mazzoni?
Vice Mayor Jarman.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Casto.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Coburn.
Yes.
Councilman Register.
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Teddemer.
Yes, ma'am. All right, we've moved up, the third special item, we've moved up to normal agenda item 8 to the third special item. So that is a recommendation for the appointment to the Tourist Development Council collector seat. Who's presenting this one?
I'm sorry.
Who's presenting this one?
I can do it real quick. At the last meeting, we had an open seat. One of the members of the TDC retired, and he was a collector, so when he retired, he had to step down as our collector on the TDC. It was a special meeting, so we couldn't make recommendations at the time. You guys had until Thursday of last week to make your appointment or recommendation. We received all the recommendations. We ended up with one name, and it would be Jason to take the collector seat.
Okay, and this is ministerial?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so no public comment on this one.
So moved, if a motion needs.
Well, you know, before that, I just want to say, I really appreciate Mr. Branks for reaching out, and, you know, discussing how the TDC dollars are spent, lifeguards. I'm very excited to have him on this seat.
Yeah, he's well qualified. I worked with Jason for probably 10 years, and he's a great guy and serves our community and has continued to do so. So I think it's a great pick for us, and I'm excited to have it join Vice Mayor and I on the TDC.
Okay. All right. Just no comment.
I've known Jason and his family probably 15 or 20 years. I was pleased to hear that he was ready to serve our community, and wish him good luck.
Okay. Well, we got a motion on the table. Can we get a second?
Second.
Ms. Mazzoni?
Vice Mayor Jarman.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Casto.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Coburn.
Yes.
Councilman Register.
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Teddemer.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. We now move on to the regular agenda. This next one is ordinance 1661.
And Mayor, what I would ask you to do, you have 2 quasi-judicial hearings related to ordinance 1661 and 1662.
Okay.
What I would ask that you do is go ahead and hold one combined quasi-judicial hearing on both. They are They are twins. And hold that hearing, and then once you conclude that hearing, I'll read the titles, you can deliberate, and then you can vote. That works?
Okay, sounds good. So this is a hearing to consider the approval of a amendment to the future land use map and rezoning for a certain property owned by RAWGP LLC located at parcel ID 35351-090-000. This is a quasi-judicial hearing governed by the city's Land Development Code. This hearing is based on the recommendation of the Planning Board's approval. Members of the council have been provided a copy of that order for our review. We will now begin the hearing. Will all persons wishing to speak during this hearing please rise to be sworn in?
Do you swear or affirm that the evidence you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Mr. Leonard? We're not going to go to the staff presentation quite yet. Mr. Leonard, were the notice requirements met for this meeting?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. At this time, we will ask each member of the council to make their Jennings disclosures. Yes, sir.
Mayor, I have nothing to disclose.
Councilmember Colbert?
Nothing to disclose.
Councilman?
Nothing to disclose.
Vice Mayor?
Nothing to disclose.
I also have nothing to disclose. At this time, we will hear the staff's report. Mr. Leonard?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This is approximately 1.5 acres just east of Kelly Street and on the south side of Panama City Beach Parkway. It's a small triangular piece that was part of a previously approved PUD, plan unit development in that area around Kelly Street. As I mentioned, it's approximately 1.5 acres. The first request is for a comprehensive plan future land use map amendment change from mixed use to tourist, and tourist is really just the city's name for the commercial future land use map designation. The planning board heard this request on May the 14th and recommended approval 6-1. The second part of the request is the rezoning request for it, which it's currently zoned PUD, and the request is to go to CM, which is commercial medium intensity, and the planning board had the same vote 6-1 recommending approval for it.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Leonard.
Thank you.
This time, we'll take public comments. You have to have been sworn in to do public comment. Staff presentation.
Good morning, Robert Carroll, McNeil Carroll Engineering, 17800 Panama City Beach Parkway. I have been sworn in. We are the engineer of record for the development. We've been involved with this overall PUD since the very beginnings when Mr. Alan Jackson would come into town and be part of this process. It unfortunately did not take off. However, we're here for the subject parcel, which you can see is the small triangular piece. It has limitations with the configuration of the site. And with it being part of a PUD, we have to everybody agree and be on the same page. If there's changes, everyone has to agree. So it's just simpler and easier if we can take this parcel, carve it out. There's 3 separate owners as part of the overall PUD. We're only representing this current one. So we're here to ask to go to a CM. Typically, everything along Back Beach Road, with the exception of a few parcels, is CH. That would be the ideal, but we looked at the uses, what we're looking for. We can live with a CM. We thought that was a good compromise. We were asked during planning board if we could go to a CL. There's 5 CL parcels within the entire city limits that we can find. They're all within a residential neighborhood on Sundial, so it's really the only CL. CM gives us a little bit more uses, like a coffee shop, restaurant, that you can't do in a CL. We plan to do a multi-tenant type project here. The current owners of the property, they own a development in Inlet Beach called 30 Avenue, if any of you ever heard of that. Very high-end, very, very well-done development. We represent them on that project, same owners. This is obviously much smaller scale, but that is the type of developer they are and the type of development they would like to bring to the city. So we're just here to ask for you to allow the zoning to go to a CM, not the CH, which would be ideal. It would be following the line with everybody else, but we can live with a CM. We would abide by the 20-foot buffers. Our access is controlled. There's existing roadway networks in there, so we do not have to go to DOT. We can be part of the internal development still. It just allows us to be independent without having to get the rest of the development's permission to do what we would like to do.
Okay.
Be glad to answer any questions.
Any questions?
I don't know if this is a question for you or not, but buffering on that?
We would have a 20-foot buffer because we're adjacent to residential on that side. Yes, sir. We would
Okay,
abide by
so
all setbacks, no variance requests, no deviations.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is pulling out of the PUD and going zoning CM, and you're looking at a multi-tenant?
That would be the goal, yes, sir. We have an acre and a half, so it allows us to where we could have multiple tenants within the structure, yes, sir.
Okay.
Just gives a lot more flexibility.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen what this developer's done at 30 Avenue. It's a first-class facility. I mean, it's more well-landscaped than anything I've ever seen. It's a beautiful place, a beautiful destination for people, so I like it. Take my family there. I think it'd be a great addition.
Further questions on the applicant presentation? Thank you, Mr. Carroll.
Thank you.
We'll now move on from the applicant presentation, not public comment, to affected parties. At this time, we will hear from any affected party who wishes to speak. Please come up, state your name and address for the record. And Mr. Davis, affected parties are qualified as how far away from the property?
So it's those parties that are somehow more affected than the average person.
Okay.
We tend to think of that as somewhere in 1,000 or 1,500 feet of the subject parcel. There's no hard and fast rule. It's in the eye of the beholder.
Okay. All right. Any affected parties? Seeing none. Public comment? Any public comment? Seeing none? Well, this time we will hear any rebuttal by staff. None indicated. The affected party? None indicated. No affected parties, and the applicant, none indicated. Okay. This time we will close the evidentiary portion of the hearing. This time we'll hear any closing arguments by staff to the applicant. None? None? Okay. This time we will move to council discussion. You wanted to do this.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and read the titles, and then you guys can deliberate. I think that's the easiest thing to do.
Okay.
Okay, ordinance number 1661, an ordinance of the City of Panama City Beach, Florida, amending ordinance 1688, known as the 2021 amended and restated City of Panama City Beach Growth Development Plan, acting upon the application of Raw GB LLC to change the future land use designation of a parcel of land from mixed use to tourist, designating for tourist land use a certain parcel of land lying within the City of Panama City Beach, Florida, consisting of approximately 1.5 acres. Said parcel located at Panama City Beach Parkway, parcel ID 35351-090-000, as more particularly described in the body of the ordinance, amending the city's future land use map to designate the parcel for tourist land use, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict, providing for severability, scrivener's errors, liberal interpretation, modifications, codification, and providing an effective date. I'll now read the next ordinance. Actually, how about this? You guys vote on this one, and then I'll read the next one. I'll take a breath.
You know, of water. Is there any discussion from the council? Seems like a straightforward change to something on Back Beach Road.
Yep. Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. Fuzzoni?
Vice Mayor Jarman?
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Casto?
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Coburn?
Yes.
Councilman Register?
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Teddemer?
Yes, ma'am. All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's go.
Ordinance number 1662, an ordinance of the City of Panama City Beach, Florida, rezoning from planned unit development to commercial medium intensity that certain parcel of land lying within the City of Panama City Beach, Florida, containing approximately 1.5 acres located at Panama City Beach Parkway, parcel ID 35351-090-000, as more particularly described in the body of the ordinance, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict, providing for severability, scrivener's errors, liberal interpretation, modification, codification, and providing an effective date.
Okay. Good job, Mr. Davis.
Thank you.
I'm not going to ask you to read the balance of the parcel next. Any discussion from council?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. Fuzzoni?
Vice Mayor Jarman?
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Casto?
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Coburn?
Yes.
Councilman Register?
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Teddemer?
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Moving on to regular agenda item Number 3, Resolution 25-132. Mr. Davis.
A resolution of the City of Panama City Beach, Florida, approving an agreement with Central Square Technologies LLC for enterprise resource planning software and the total initial amount of $722,903.25.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Warren.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Appreciate the opportunity to present this. This enterprise resource planning software that's a fancy name for a new system that will unify timekeeping, payroll, finance, HR, and our utility billing processes. What that means for everybody is that's less paperwork, fewer errors, and faster service. As our team is able to work more efficiently, it will allow our residents and businesses to get better and more efficient service. It's really all about making things simpler, smarter, and more connected for everyone. So I want to thank our committee who worked long and hard on this process. We went out for bid on this as an RFQ several months ago. We had 7 qualified responses. We went through 3 lengthy demonstrations before we came to Central Square. We're very confident that that our departments are going to work hard on this if it is approved by council to move forward. And we appreciate the opportunity to present this to council and as an opportunity to improve the city and our services.
Okay. And to keep Webb from standing up multiple times, we'll do questions for him, then we'll do public comment and then discussion.
Okay.
Okay. Any questions for Webb?
I'm good.
No, just great job on it. I know it's been a long time coming. It's something you worked really, really hard on, so I appreciate you making it. For the end user, I think it's a great thing, so.
Our staff has worked hard on this.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, so this is going to unify several different systems in a way that allows the departments to talk to each other through a unified system rather than either ad hoc or duct tape and bubble gum.
Yeah, yes, sir. It will bring everything together in the cloud, and it will basically make through a unified processes. It's just going to make everything simpler for everybody.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Ward.
Thank you.
Any public comment on this item? Any public comment on this item? Okay, seeing none. Well, I'll say I'm extremely excited about this item. It is so impressive how staff has been able to get by without this so far. It's sorely needed, and I know it's going to take, it took a lot to get this vendor. I think the staff selection committee did a wonderful job. You know, when you have a committee made up of different departments that all have to agree on one software, that's always going to be a challenge, and the committee did a wonderful job of navigating that. Okay. Any further council discussion?
Motion approved.
Second.
Ms. Pizzoni?
Vice Mayor Jarman.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Casto.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Coburn.
Yes.
Councilman Register.
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Tedmer.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Now we move on to regular agenda item number 4. Mr. Davis, you want to do something a little bit different on this one?
Yeah, just as a matter of housekeeping, so you have 3 resolutions that you're going to consider in a row. Those all relate to your 3 non-ad valorem assessments: fire assessment, stormwater assessment, CRA assessment. And so what I would suggest that you do is have one public hearing to consider passage of all 3 resolutions. Mark Lawson, our special counsel for our assessments, is here to walk you through that. But that way, any member of the public could speak on any or all of those assessments at the same time. We can make sure our record is clear. And then, similar to what we just did, I'll read the titles one by one. You can deliberate and vote and each one after the hearing, if that's okay with you guys.
Yeah.
Fine with me.
Sounds good to me. There's a lot of formality in these hearings, so consolidating them all makes sense to me. But just to reemphasize what Mr. Davis said, if you wish to speak on any or all of the assessments, it will be during this hearing. So
Correct.
For members of the public, if you wish to speak on any or all of the 3 assessments, it's going to be during this hearing. All right. Then the city's special counsel, on this matter, Mr. Lawson, will lead us off, and then members of the public will have an opportunity to speak. We will now begin the hearing. At this time, we will hear the city's report. Mr. Lawson?
Good morning, Mark Lawson with Mark G. Lawson, PA. Thank you for your trust and the ability to work with you for many years. This is a public hearing. It has been duly advertised. There's proof of publication, which we appended to each resolution. You have done this for several years. It is a revenue source that has been judicially validated in each instance. And like things that you do repetitively, your community and you have all gotten used to it. It's a revenue source. Each is distinct. One is fire service, one is stormwater management, and one is fulfilling an interlocal obligation to have some CRA administration and capital costs relating to Front Beach Road. The first two are citywide. The third one only deals with Front Beach Community Redevelopment Area. I will stand down. I recommend you listen. This is the point of due process, notice, and opportunity to be heard. When all those who have wished to speak have spoken, if you'll draw me back up, I'll help you wrap up, and then you can deliberate.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lawson. At this time, we will take public comment, and that's going to be on any or all of the assessments. Any public comment? Okay. Seeing none. Mr. Lawson, you have an optional rebuttal.
I will defer to the city attorney. I think you have 3 resolutions. I don't know what your practice is, if you want to read the titles, but they each are self-effectuating. They each are have a degree of findings. They set the rates. I'll defer to the attorney to explain each one, if that's all right with you, Cole.
That's fine.
And then, again, any direction you give, we'll follow through with that when we're done. I would like to say for the record, first, thanks to your staff. Your staff plays a huge role in this because these are all budget-driven. We can't do our work without looking at your preliminary budget, and then this becomes a very important aspect to your overall city budget as you go forward later this year. With that said, the objective is to determine to adopt each one. And if you have any questions as you go through, I'll be glad to come back to the podium, but let's go through these one at a time, if that's okay with you, sir.
Sounds good.
Would you like me to stand here, or do you want me to sit down?
You just sit down, and I'm actually going to close the hearing and maybe take a 5-minute recess.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I'm going to, is that okay?
Yes, sir, that's
Why?
fine.
All right, we'll close the hearing. We're going to be back here at 11. Or 10.
11:10, or 10:10.
More than 5 minutes on that one.
Well, in that case, we can have
Yeah,
lunch.
wow.
Yeah, let's go have lunch and go have a drink of Coke. All right, we'll be back here at 10:07. And Mr. Davis?
Yes, just as a matter of housekeeping, Mr. Lawson meant to ask you to include their economic reports and expert reports that his team prepared. Dr. Owen Beisch, who's our expert economist on this matter, prepared reports that have been provided to you, and they're in the room. I would ask that those reports be included in the record of the hearing, just as a matter of housekeeping, if that's okay.
Okay.
With that taken care of, I will read the title for the fire assessment resolution.
Okay.
Resolution 25-133, a resolution of the City Council of Panama City Beach, Florida, relating to the availability and funding of fire protection and related essential services, facilities, and programs within the city, providing for the imposition of special assessments within the city to fund, in part, the services, facilities, and programs associated with the continual readiness to provide fire protection, identifying benefits, burdens, and costs to be assessed, establishing the method of apportioning benefits, burdens, and costs among specially benefited property, adopting an assessment role, providing the method of collection, providing for associated authorizations and direction, including additional notice under section 200.069 Florida statutes, and ongoing work order direction, and providing an effective date.
Okay. And since we did public comment during the hearing?
Correct.
We will not be taking public comment at that time. The time was during the hearing. So we will move on to council discussion. Not particularly amenable to move this.
I think, out of we have 3 assessments. This one is also supported by the general fund at this time. My position is leave it alone.
Okay. Yep. Thank you. Yep, and as very well noted, it is supported by the general fund. Okay. So 0%?
0%.
Could someone do that motion?
Motion for the assessment to not increase.
Okay.
Second.
Is that good enough?
Yeah, motion to
approve
the
0%
assessment
increase.
direction to assess no increase.
That's correct.
Okay.
Okay. Ms. Fazzoni? Please call roll.
Councilman German?
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Casto?
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Coburn?
Yes.
Councilman Register?
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Tettemer?
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
All right, I'll now read the resolution for the stormwater assessment.
Yep.
Resolution 25-134, a resolution of the City Council of Panama City Beach, Florida, relating to the availability and funding of stormwater management and related capital services, facilities, and programs, including capital infrastructure and equipment within the city, providing for the imposition of special assessments within the city to fund, in part, the services, facilities, and programs associated with the continual readiness and maintenance of stormwater management services, facilities, and programs, identifying benefits, burdens, and costs to be assessed, establishing the method of apportioning benefits, burdens, and costs among specially benefited property, adopting an assessment role, providing the method of collection, providing for associated authorizations and direction, including additional notice under section 200.069 Florida statutes, and ongoing work order direction, and providing an effective date.
Okay. And again, a reminder, public comment was heard during the public hearing. So we'll move on to council discussion. I think as the Vice Mayor teed up, we have one special assessment that is supported by the general fund.
Yeah.
But this one is not. And I've heard that we're working toward having smaller budgets for some of this local stormwater projects so we can be a lot more agile in these neighborhoods. Instead of waiting and waiting for a big stormwater project, having sustainable funding for some of those smaller projects so we can address issues that people are dealing with right now makes a lot of sense to me. So I'm in favor of increasing this one. It's a relatively small assessment. You don't want to use that as a rationale for increasing, but I think this one, residents see a direct benefit to this assessment. It's the only thing supporting it.
I know many of my neighbors have benefited by these agile stormwater projects, so I agree wholeheartedly that this is the only way we're going to be able to do more of those projects, is to be able to do this. So I'm in agreement.
Yeah, and I think, what was we advertised at between 0 and 4%, but the maximum would have been something like
7.47.
Would have been 7.47%. Okay, so that would have been the maximum. We just advertised between 0 and 4. I'd be amenable to go up to 4 on this one.
I agree with you on that, Mayor. I think we have to fund our stormwater projects in our community as we develop, and that's one of the biggest problems we have. So I think that's a good compromise, 4%.
No, absolutely. Down
Yeah.
from 7.4 is a good compromise and allows us to provide a great service.
And I'd just like to say for everyone that's listening, we have stormwater projects in the pipe right now for the Glades, for Colony Club, for Sansucci, for Gulf Highlands, and Gardenia Street. I mean, we have a lot that we want to be able to support and complete. And so I'm in concurrence on raising this one as well, 4.
Yeah, and very well stated. We have a number of stormwater projects already in the pipeline, and we also have a bunch of small projects that we're looking at addressing. Okay, someone do the motion.
Motion to increase the annual stormwater assessment by 4%.
Second.
Okay, Ms. Vizzoni?
Vice Mayor Jarman.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Casto.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Coburn.
Yes.
Councilman Register.
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Teddemer.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, Mr. Davis?
And now I'll read the CRA assessment. Resolution 25-135, a resolution of the City Council of Panama City Beach, Florida, relating to the provision of funding community redevelopment-related capital services, facilities, or programs within the Front Beach Road Community Redevelopment Area, identifying benefits, burdens, and costs to be assessed, establishing the method of apportioning benefits, burdens, and costs among specially benefited property, adopting an assessment role, providing the method of collection, providing for associated authorizations and direction, including additional notice under Section 200.0694 Florida statutes, and ongoing work order direction, and providing an effective date.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Davis. Mr. Wisman or Ms. White, Mr. Davis, could you tell us what this CRA assessment is used for?
So typically what the CRA assessment is used for is operations and maintenance within the CRA fund. So we try to use the TIF money that we get from the county to do the capital projects. And this allows us, especially now that some of these roads are getting older that we built at the beginning of the CRA, this allows us to go back and do things like resurface and restripe and do all the maintenance that comes along with these improved infrastructure.
So, were we to raise this, that would allow us to use more of the TIF money to get some of the CRA capital projects done.
That's correct.
Rather than backfilling the operation and maintenance with the TIF money from the capital projects.
That's right.
And some of those older roads are Jackson and Churchwell?
Churchwell is the first one that we did at the beginning of the CRA. And we did, it was Beckridge at the time, now Richard Jackson. We did segment 2, South Thomas. So all those roads are starting to get some age on them where they need to be restriped, resurfaced at some point.
Okay. Well, I will say I'm very happy with the team we have in place now. John Adair, Public Works has really taken the reins. I'm so excited for DRMP. I love the smell of that pavement. Getting segment 3 done. Not normally a fan of pavement smell, but in that case, I love it.
Yeah.
And so, for me, making sure now that we have this team in place, now that we're getting these projects done, giving them more ability to allocate more capital toward these projects and get them done more quickly makes sense if we can take the operations and maintenance burden off the TIF a little bit. So I'd be amenable to increasing this one as well.
I agree wholeheartedly, Mayor. It's very important to maintain what we have, and some of those roads are getting some issues, striping, and that's the biggest issue I see on some of the roads that are 20 years old, and that thermoplastic is expensive to put down, and it lasts about 20 years, and it's needing attention. So I'm okay with that.
Okay. And if I recall, the max of this one was also that 7.52% was the max, but we advertised between 0 and 4.
Correct.
Okay.
Can these funds be used towards landscaping maintenance as well?
Yes, and that's it. As these roads come online and we get more and more of them, the landscaping and the maintenance costs increase to keep the roads, because you want them to look like they look when you first put that landscaping in. So yes, it can be used towards that.
Okay, great, thank you.
Do we have a cost of the O&M for the next, within the next 4 years?
Joey has that in the 5-year plan. I don't happen to have that in front of me this morning, but we do build that out, and we do build those increases in for maintenance and for as the landscaping comes on board.
I'm just trying to wrap my head around the impact of an increase on this versus our overall budget for the CRA. So, I mean, I think most of the time I've voted for zero increase on these. So, and with the new agreement with the county, we are able to use, unlike before, some of the TIF for our O&M. How much, a question to the council, how much of an increase are you guys wanting to do?
I think we get the most bang for our buck at 2%. So, and, you know, normally you don't like to raise things, but we do have ongoing operations and maintenance that need to be funded, and we can use the TIF funding for operations and maintenance. That's what we wanted, that flexibility, but we also want to get these projects done, and we want to make sure that we can fund the maintenance going on into the future.
No, I agree. You guys have heard me a million times about how important landscape and aesthetic appeal is to a tourist destination. I've said that plenty of times up here, and I think it's extremely important. I think those people in that CRA in this area that's affected by this see the direct result and the benefit of raising this a little bit, and us being able to better maintain our landscaping, our striping, and have that new look appeal when you come and visit our destination.
I'm all for keeping landscaping and everything looking. My only problem is that for me, with the CRA assessment, these people are getting double tapped. They're paying the TIF, and then they're paying the assessment. So you're asking them to pay twice.
Well, I mean, help me understand, because the market in.
I've lived this. This assessment was raised a little over $1 million, or about that rate. So understand the magnitude of the discussion here. This isn't like the others that are larger, number one. Number two, the TIF is money that the citizens pay to the county. It goes over there, it comes back here. So they're going to pay those taxes to the county, or it's going to flow back to you one way or the other. So that's money that's not a double charge at all. And this is part of an interlocal agreement settlement where the original plan said that you could consider doing assessments. And as a part of a settlement several years ago, in an interlocal fashion, the city agreed to do the assessments. One reason was there was some discussion at the county that you would be deemed not in concurrence with your promises and would lead to a legal challenge. So this solved that legal challenge, and you have a judicial validation that deals with that. So I want to make sure I bring that all into focus for you all.
I'm not questioning whether we should have the assessment. I understand that we must have the assessment due to the interlocal and the agreement.
But the amount is relatively small, and 2% of a really small amount is really small compared to even 4% of a small amount. That's what I want to make sure of. I'll sit it down.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Larson. Please be quiet in the gallery.
When was the last time we raised this assessment?
It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. You haven't done it in the last 3 years.
The last 3 years, we have not increased it at all. And we have to maintain these roads out here. That's why I'm for the small increase to bank some money to do this maintenance long-term instead of just every council up here kicking the can.
We can't kick the can down the road any further, and I think that, I mean, we look at our road projects, we're able to do less and less every year because labor costs have gone up, especially significantly over the last 3 years. So we've got to be able to keep up. You know, I know you guys are at 2%. I'm definitely okay there. I'm maybe even okay at a 4% increase because I believe in the aesthetic appeal of a destination.
Yeah, I mean, I did want to address the vice mayor's comment about being double tapped. So certainly everyone in the city of PCB pays their property taxes. And then with the TIF, that comes back to us, but that is assessed by Bay County. And so there is an additional assessment on the CRA, but, you know, we're not assessing anything particularly on them for the TIF. That is just a way of keeping those funds that are already set and collected by Bay County, keeping them here. So, I mean, honestly,
Right.
I'm very concerned, not very concerned. I would want to make sure we're setting ourselves up for success into the future here. Starting to do increases now, again, we advertise this at 7.5%, or we had the option to advertise it at 7.5%. We took it between 0 and 4. I would hate the city to get into a place where they start having to advertise that at the 7% and they start seeing big jumps as we go through the maintenance of these projects. So starting to get some of the revenue now, I mean, I'll be honest, I'm really sympathetic to what some of the numbers Councilman Register threw out.
Well, I know that we need to maintain our existing assessment to comply with our interlocal with the county. But I feel that it's more fair that the properties that actually benefit from these improvements be the one that pays the assessment to maintain it through a landscaping maintenance district, rather than assessing residential properties that aren't even on Front Beach Road to pay this. We have residents in Palmetto Trace and other neighborhoods that are paying this assessment because their property was included in the redevelopment area when it was first formed.
A small percentage of the residents of Panama City Beach will pay this 2% increase. It's just the people that are in the CRA, which is, I'm guessing percentage-wise, maybe 10% or less probably, so I don't know that for sure. But anyhow, I agree with what you're saying, but we can't go back and change that CRA or we'll lose the CRA.
You don't have to change that, but instead of raising that, it's time to start looking at a lighting and landscaping district to support Front Beach Road maintenance long-term. And when I brought this up before, I've been told, well, we need to wait until the CRA is done with. Well, why not just freeze this existing assessment where it is and set up a lighting and landscaping district to deal with ongoing maintenance?
Well, you're just getting the money a different way. I mean.
Well, you're not assessing people that aren't on Front Beach Road that are benefiting from the improvements and or putting up with the inconvenience. Just saying.
Yeah, so
I say we punt that question to staff and we come back to it.
I mean, I think the point is well taken that there are residents in Palmetto Trace that would be hit by any increase in this assessment. That is absolutely true. But in addition to lighting and landscaping, we have road maintenance that we need to do that right now is being funded by the TIF. And typically that TIF is supposed to be used for capital. We're using it for operations and maintenance. So we're eating into our capital fund in order to maintain what has been built. Having a 2% increase, the maximum increase was 7.5. It hasn't been raised for several years. Having 2% is going to get us the most bang for our buck looking at the numbers. I would be in favor of a 2% increase.
I'll make that motion to increase it to 2%.
Second.
Mr. Zoni?
Vice Mayor Jarman?
No.
Councilman Casto?
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Coburn?
No.
Councilman Register?
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Teddemer?
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Very good discussion, very good discussion. There's a lot going on, so I really appreciate having some robust discussion about this. All right, now, maybe we can discuss this one a little bit. Or maybe we got it all out of our system. Resolution 25-136.
A resolution of the City of Panama City Beach, Florida, electing to transition the city's legal services contract to DMW Law Group, approving an engagement letter for city attorney services with the DMW Law Group, and approving an engagement letter with Hand, Arundel, Harrison Sale for co-counsel services related to the Front Beach Road CRA.
Okay, we will accept public comment on this item. Any public comment on this item? Seeing none? Mr. Davies, could you help us understand this?
Sure. So I serve as your city attorney since 2023. Recently, along with a couple of my partners, have decided to leave Hand Arundel Harrison Sale, who I've spent 13 wonderful years with, to form my own law firm, along with two of my partners, Julia Madalena, who currently serves as your assistant city attorney, and Andy Weddle, who is behind me. And so you have the choice to elect how you want to transition your legal services, or whether you want to stay with Hand Arundel Harrison Sale. Based on discussions with staff and also with Ms. Myers, who serves as your CRA counsel, we have prepared a choice for you, which would be to engage my new law firm, DMW Law Group, as your city attorney, and then but also to retain Hand Arundel Harrison Sale as special counsel on the CRA and other matters as things come along.
Okay, and so the option is you got a new law firm. It's a little smaller than Hand Arundel Sale, be potentially a little bit more agile and dedicated to the city's work. Is that
we certainly hope so.
Or not, or to keep Hand Arundel Sale, which is where the city has the city attorney. How would that work? Sorry, sir. Public comment has already been. We already had the section for public comment.
How would what work exactly?
So if you start this new firm, is our contract with Hand Arundel Sale right now? Help us.
Yes, sir. So currently you have an engagement letter with Hand Arundel Harrison Sale. That has been updated over the years. The resolution before you, if you would approve that, would be an election to transition from Hand Arundel to the new firm, DMW Law Group, and then to approve engagement letters both with DMW Law Group for your general counsel services, and then also an engagement letter with Hand Arundel for other services primarily focused on the CRA. That's the option before you, but it's your choice ultimately, and we can work with however you want to do it.
I mean, I know it's a big deal. It also kind of seems like bookkeeping up here. You stay on as the city attorney?
Yes, sir. So, I mean, I guess to really answer your question, there wouldn't be much change in the day-to-day world for you. Ms. Myers has served as the Front Beach Road CRA attorney for many, many years. She would continue in that role. And then I have served as your city attorney and assistant city attorney for many years. I would continue in that role. For you and for the public and for staff, there would be very little change in day-to-day operations.
Okay. Yeah, just more focus, the ability to focus more on the city.
Certainly.
Rather than the other obligations that come with being in a big firm.
Certainly.
I mean, I will say Hand Arundel Sale has done good work for our city, but as needs change, this dedicated firm makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know that guy, so I mean, that's who I know. That's our staff. That's who it is. So for us, it's easy for me. I want to keep that guy. I think he's done a tremendous job. I think he's guided us and done so well and adequately since 2023, and I'd like to continue that relationship.
I have to agree with Councilman Register that, it's who you know and who you trust. And I know over the years that I've sat up here, my trust has been reaffirmed time and time again, and I don't want to see anyone else sit in that seat or with that law firm, so.
Yeah, I mean, the personnel that will be staffing this new firm has proven both agile and innovative. I want to keep the personnel.
And they have history and knowledge.
Yeah.
So motion to approve the contract of legal services with DMW Law Group?
Yeah, if you
And co-counsel for.
Yeah, co-counsel for Hand Arundel Harrison Sale.
Yep. Then that's how the resolution's drafted.
Okay.
Second.
Ms. Fazzoni?
Vice Mayor Jarman?
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Casto?
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Coburn?
Yes.
Councilman Register?
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Teddemer?
Yes, ma'am. And since we've already taken care of TDC, we now move on to the city manager report.
Just real short, I believe we have 2 openings in our Parks and Recs board. It's been established, I think, since 1986. I'm just trying to get direction. Do we need to advertise? You guys want to look at how we run the Parks and Rec board? But sometimes it's hard to get a quorum with that group, and unfortunately, one of them was Mayor Gale that passed away. We lost her on the board.
So what is the part, I've attended a few of those meetings, and, you know, I know staff comes and does a presentation, but what's the purpose of that board?
The original purpose was to have a board that would work with a public-private group to bring funds to Frank Brown Park.
Okay.
I don't think we've ever done that in that aspect. It's more of a review from our staff to the board.
And yeah, Vice Mayor, did you want to say?
Oh, no, I'll let you, go ahead.
Yeah, and so that board's meetings, they are well publicly advertised. They don't seem particularly well attended. I wonder the temperature of the council of just asking Parks and Rec to come do periodic presentations here, where more people see it, and not have the board anymore?
I think that is an excellent idea. My take on that is that ultimately the council makes the decisions at Frank Brown Park. We have open public comments every meeting. If someone wants to see something at Frank Brown Park or talk about Frank Brown Park, this is really the dais to do it at. As city manager reported, that the initial design of that board was public-private partnerships. They never transpired. If it is the will of this council, I recommend that we dissolve the Parks and Rec Board.
Yeah, and the only addition I would say is just ask Parks and Rec to come do periodic presentations here. I think they'll be really appreciated and better viewed, certainly.
Yeah, I'd have to bring it back. We'd have to appeal the ordinance, correct?
Yeah, I mean, your direction will be for us to bring you back an ordinance.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are we all in agreement?
I think it's time. I think it's just a drain on staff time, the way it's structured now. If you're not gonna put someone in place that's gonna do the job, then you don't need it.
Yeah, and I will also say, we have a lot of dedicated citizens who serve on these boards. We want to make sure we're using their time well as well. Absolutely. And so having a board, someone wants to come in and get something done, they're in the middle of the day, they're taking off work potentially. Let's give them back their time, and yeah, I think a resolution to repeal the board makes sense to me.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else, Mr. Whitman?
No, sir.
All right, city attorney?
Thank you. No report.
Really looking forward to seeing what this new firm does.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations.
All right, council comments. Who wants to start? Anyone want to start?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Today.
I want something that's kind of near and dear to my heart, and I'm not really sure how to go about this, but it's come up several times with the county, but about opening the old pass. I'd like to potentially get the city to write a letter to Bay County Board of Commissioners that in our support, that we would support opening the old pass and getting that done. I know it's a major push that they've got, trying to get that done. It's been a push for a long time. Councilman Castro, I don't know if you remember when the old pass was open, and I'm not trying to
Date him.
But I know it was very beneficial for our Bay system.
The venerable
It was
pass.
open, so something, I'd like to get some consensus and potentially be able to direct staff to be able to draft a letter in support of opening the old pass from the city of Panama City Beach.
I'm for it.
I do remember, go ahead, Mary. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm on board with that. The St. Andrews and St. Joseph Bay Estuary Committee yesterday agreed to write a letter in support of it as well.
Well, I do remember going in and out of the old pass back in the 70s and 80s and 90s, I think, is when it finally closed. And the new pass, St. Andrews Pass, I think, was cut back in the 30s. And they went through, there was a coastal dune lake there, just to give you some history where the existing pass is at now, similar to Lake Powell. And that's where they chose to put the big new pass now, because it was closer to the port and deeper water. But I've just noticed over my lifetime of fishing the bay back in there, the water quality it's not flushing since that old pass is closed. And I can remember when I was a teenager, scallops and fishing and oysters and everything back in there, and it's kind of dead zone back in there now because there's no flushing action, and so I 100% support writing a letter to the county. I know it's the county's project, but if they could open that pass, I understand they can't armor it like with rocks like the existing St. Andrews Pass, but they can open it and keep it dredged and keep the bay flushing there, which will improve the water quality of the whole bay system. So I support it 110%.
Yeah, this came up in discussion with other elected officials outside the city shortly after I got elected. And I don't have the history with the pass that some members of council do, but I'm really excited to have Bay County pushing this. It seemed like everyone wanted to do it, but no one wanted to push it. So I really appreciate Councilman Register for bringing it up. I really appreciate Bay County for pushing it through. I think from everything I've investigated and heard, it should be very beneficial to the community. So yeah, I'm in favor of writing a letter on that.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, we'll draft a letter and have all 5 of you sign it, and we'll send it to Bay County.
Great.
Excellent.
Okay. Any other letters?
No, nothing. No other letters requested.
Okay. Councilman Cass.
Nothing unless y'all want some more history on the old pass.
I mean, maybe after this meeting, honestly.
Yeah.
We'll do one.
Yeah, I'd like some of that. Vice Mayor.
As it was brought up, I'd like to commend our law enforcement for that sand trap that they performed. That's anytime we can get people off the street like that, that's a win for our community and for our county. I'd like to bring up for the next meeting, if we can have a discussion item added to the agenda about changing our evening times to 5 p.m. We had a meeting at 5 p.m. We had people show up. It was a great help for staff. So I'd like to discuss it.
Yeah.
And because next meeting's a special meeting, I gotta get this in now, so.
True statement.
Wait, so get it on the agenda for this special.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
I mean, listening to the way the public thinks about that, if that difference between 5 and 6 is substantial to them or not, I mean, I think it's worth a discussion. Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
I'm open for discussion. I like the idea. As I get older, I don't like being on the road.
Well, we don't want to cut it into your dinner time.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're dating yourself.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that is a very good point, Councilman. In fact, we waited to do the Citizens Academy until the time change to make sure that some of the members of the public, some of the older members of the public weren't driving home when it was dark. So that's actually, yeah. Is it dark when you get home, Holly?
In the wintertime it is.
Depends on the meeting, right?
So yeah, I mean, it's worth a discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really appreciate you bringing it up.
All right. That's all I got.
Everybody good with that?
Oh, yeah.
Bring that back as a discussion?
Yeah, it's a discussion item.
Should, now,
I mean,
okay,
wait,
hold on,
wait,
hold
for
on.
all-
Do we want to make it an agenda item so that we have the option, if we choose to do so, to vote on that next meeting?
I say so.
Yeah, I mean, if, because it'll be discussion and then, well, it'd be a one.
It's an ordinance.
It's an ordinance.
It's an ordinance.
So you'd have to, I can.
So we
bring you
still
an
have
We'd
two.
have 2 bites of that
Yeah,
apple.
you'd have
Yeah,
to. buy it.
okay, yeah.
So
I
let's,
think bring you something for first reading?
yes, yeah, for me.
Forcing ourselves to do 3 if everyone's in
Yeah.
agreement just is a
Excellent.
waste of time.
I got a couple head nods. Are we all in agreement with that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Okay. Well, we have July 4th coming up. We have several events. I just want to really briefly thank the Lord for the blessings He's given our great country and our great city. We ask for His continued protection and guidance as we work to do His will. Thank you, Lord. And I will see everyone Thursday, July 10th at 5 p.m. and we'll see in the future. updated time so folks can enjoy the concert series. This meeting is adjourned.
Excellent.